Sure. So this actually fits naturally. Oz was talking about finding the right balance, and what we're going to talk about is how our personal experiences affect how we develop and affect our client service in terms of Excel solutions. So finding the right balance in your other endeavors makes you want to find the right balance of VBA and formulas for your clients. So I can only speak really for myself, but my other hobby is barbecuing, and I do a lot of food smoking, and they call that low and slow barbecue, and I think what that has taught me is that to be very patient when building these things in Excel, because smoking takes several hours, and sometimes you can do something that seems like you're going to destroy the food. So being able to take a step back and rescuing your food, it really isn't much different than taking a step back and rescuing your spreadsheet when you've done something incorrect. For example, you ran a macro but forgot to save beforehand and just deleted everything that you had put on your spreadsheet, which happens sometimes. So that is our topic, life lessons and how we use them in Excel.
So you're saying low and slow, you mean it? You're talking about the idea of taking your time, being patient.
Yep.
And when something goofs up, you don't jump out of a window.
Low and slow.
Just roll.
You try not to jump out a window. You'll want to, though.
Yeah. All right, Rick. What about you?
Yeah, I think with me, I have 5 kids, so yeah. So there's my life experiences. I don't get to have a clean house. I live in chaos for the most part. And I'm a traveling consultant, so I'm always on the road. And I come home and I dump the suitcase, and and I just like things to be clean, right? I just like some structure. I just like some order. And I don't want to be the one who does it. Maybe that's the reason I go in so many hotels, and somebody else is going to do that.
Okay.
Right? I can just throw shit everywhere, and somebody else is going to make it all nice, right? And so I really think how that relates to, at least for me, in spreadsheets, maybe it's kind of a personality trait. I don't like to be the one to fix it, but I like a certain kind of structure, a certain order. It reminds me back earlier in my career when I was doing a lot of financial modeling, forward-looking financial statements, doing pricing models, and just having to, if you've ever had to inherit somebody's junk spreadsheet, right? This is like me coming home to a messy house, right? Just somebody's junk spreadsheet, and you're like, oh, why'd you do it like that? This is nasty, And I just hate that. And so for me, from a development perspective, man, I like all my inputs on one sheet. I like it color coded. I like inputs to be, all my input sheets are black. I like my calculation sheets to be all blue tabs or something. I like so you know where you're supposed to input. You know where all the calculations are happening somewhere. And my green sheets are my output sheets. That's me. I just like this. I like the structure. I like you can follow the thought process, and anybody else can kind of pick up that spreadsheet. It might take them some thinking, but for me, just from a personality perspective, from a life perspective, that's how the way I look at the development of it.
Okay. Wow. So you prefer the order, but you find yourself in negotiating the chaos, and you get to be the guy that brings the order.
I gotta be the sheriff, man. I think about that because you put on the hat. I gotta be the sheriff. I can't have chaos in my town. I can't have you rolling up on your horse thinking you're gonna cause a whole bunch of tumbleweeds up in my stuff. I can't have that. I need structure. I need order. I need you to get your ass in line.
Yeah.
Get the data right, and give me all the inputs over here, all the outputs over here. Give me my calculations here. I gotta know how to. That's what I need, Oz. That's what I need. Don't come in my town thinking you're gonna cause chaos. I can't have that.
I won't do it. No.
Wow.
And that has me think of. I think we're very similar in that way, but I like freelancing because I go into the strange town not knowing what's going on. And I love that. And I love doing what I can with what we've got and then moving on to the next town. See, when I worked at a job and I would get stuff like that, okay, credit card disputes. We were losing them because nobody knew when to respond, how to respond, nothing. So I had to take all this data and create a process around responding to credit card disputes. After I created the process, I own that damn thing. I didn't want that.
You touch it, you own it.
Yeah,
Don't go around fixing stuff.
Huh?
Don't go around fixing stuff.
Right, man. So that's what I love about freelancing. The sheriff who rides into a strange town with nothing but a lot of experience and confidence.
I got to tell you, I think that as well. And so, you know, one of the things I love about, and well, I'll call it consulting. So one of the things I love about is that discipline almost is if I roll into a new town, right, and I hate you, I only got to hate you for 4 months. Right? Then I'm moving on to another town, and it's all good. And I like that the scenery changes, the people change, the problem's kind of different, but you can always bring in your expertise, and you can bring order to the chaos.
Yes.
I love that. I love, like I said, being a gunslinger.
Yep. But you know, I love the empowerment to, you know, teaching somebody. You know, doing the workshops and getting the email the next morning and saying, hey, I look like a rock star this morning. That's really where I want to go, is empowering more people, inspiring more people, telling people about the importance of getting that data straight and thinking about data the right way and getting the right people in the right places. Because, man, when somebody's secondary, tertiary job is some kind of data analysis, that's where they start cutting corners. And I've found people start doing weird stuff. Had a guy who would send out all these products because he couldn't keep up with the data. Send the products out one day, get back and clean up the data. But one day never comes. He was laid off. You know, just because of the mass layoff before he could get back and clean up that data. But I come along and say, okay, we got to look at this from all these different directions, you know, because we got a whole bunch of complaints going on. And yes, ma'am, I got this. I've seen this in the next town over just last month. And it was a drunk loudmouth who was doing all this, and I handled him. Believe you me, it's going to go the same way, and so we got it straightened out. But I love that, and that like when I went to Poland by myself, you know, I had studied Russian in college, and I went to Poland for a week, and as black guy getting off the plane in Gdansk, Poland, and the guy at the passport control is asking me, oh, you're here to see family? So the next, I went to the guest house. I said, "Я хочу 8 Beethoven улица." I want 8 Beethoven Street. So I go there, and everything's great. Get something to eat, go to bed, get up in the next morning, and get on the bus, go to looking for Old Town in Gdansk. End of the bus line, me and the bus driver. Where's Old Town? And he just looks at me. Где старое место? Oh! Then he directs me to where is Old Town. And I learned to say, где же tatuage studio? Where's the tattoo studio? So I got a tattoo here. So just throwing myself into situations like that. Went to Budapest, similar thing. No Hungarian, but I had some Russian to help me when I was in Poland. But I love that kind of, let's see where this is going.
So I want to jump in and talk about something that both of you said. So you talked about the chaos, and I often, my life is sort of chaotic. I keep most things clean. Obviously, there's kind of a mess back there. I got a new printer, but I like to keep things clean. My desk isn't always clean, but what I like about Excel is that I can control it. So I can make things a lot more structured with Excel, so than I can really do in real life. So there's kind of an elegance in that I really like. And again, going back to my other hobbies like smoking or things like that, smoking meat is really one of the more interesting ones, whereas Excel is kind of very, you deal with variables you understand, at least you think so on the spreadsheet. Smoking is more like variables you can't always control, such as temperature fluctuations. You have to be happy with the middle ground. But I guess where I'm going with this is that spreadsheets on the surface seem like very structured variables, but life in dealing with spreadsheets and dealing with clients is not structured at all. You need to deal with deadlines that someone may say, hey, this is the hard stop, and then it's not the hard stop because they didn't send you the data, or I always like to blame the client when I use these examples, or you didn't do something that you should have done, or something that happened entirely out of your control. So in fact, you may even write a statement of work and deviate from that significantly, which is why I actually have moved almost entirely away from statements of work and have created proposals that match this sort of variability. So that's something that I like, because it's both the control and the lack of control and the balance, Maybe it all comes back to that. You got me on a philosophical thing, Oz. You inspired me.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Yep. The variables and control and chaos, entropy. Yeah.